Hi guys, I'm here with Eeriearachnids, David.
How's everybody doing?
And we are going to be doing a question and answer for you. Do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay. First question, what is some advice you'd give to a new keeper?
I think the biggest thing that I always try to tell people is not to buy with their eyes. Is to pay attention to what the spiders do, what you can handle, what you can't handle. Really getting information from people that have had them. I think that's the biggest thing, because I think a lot of people see that beautiful blue spider,
yeah,
and they want to have it, and then when they get it, they don't realize what they got to do with it.
Yeah, I agree. My big thing is know what you're getting into. Do your research first. Understand what you're getting into. Research the species that you want. Don't just, like he said, buy with your eyes. Just research the species. See what you want to do. If you want something bright and colorful, get something colorful, but within your realm of what you can handle. And second question, if you choose a vacation spot based on seeing inverts in their natural habitat, where would you go?
This was a tough one because I have, favorite spiders from all over the place, but I think that the most beautiful place to go to would probably be Costa Rica.
Costa Rica?
Yeah, I think Costa Rica would be the place to go. I
was tied between Costa Rica and Brazil.
Yeah.
I think Brazil would be really cool.
It would be cool, but I think Costa Rica's safer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So who was your biggest influence when you started collecting tarantulas and or when you started your YouTube channel?
Well, I can answer it both ways, because when I first started really getting into them, 3 years ago, I mean, I had one for 14 years or 11 years prior, so I've been doing it for about 14 years. But when I first really started getting into it and getting into the channels or getting into the groups on Facebook, my friend Pamela was very, very helpful to me. She kind of navigated me, things that I didn't know and where to get the right information from. But Dave Scott was the one that really got me doing the channel.
The YouTube channel?
Absolutely.
My friend Roxy is the one who got me into spiders. I was deathly afraid of them, and she kind of talked to me and she was like, oh, they're super cool. I used to do modeling and she was the makeup artist. And I was like, oh, another pretty girl who likes spiders. It's not weird. So she kind of got me into it and I was like, that's really cool. And then Dark Den was the reason I started my channel for sure. I didn't realize that people were out there doing YouTube for spiders, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I could do that.
Yeah, I love watching his videos. He's so cinematic.
Oh, I know. He's always got a personality on him.
Definitely. That's what makes him him. Yeah,
for sure. What is your biggest pet peeve in the hobby?
I think because I moderate so many different Facebook groups, so we're dealing with a bunch of people. I think it's the people that want advice, but then when you give it to them, they say something like, well, I'll give you an example. You have a picture of a spider that's got 1 inch of substrate, a little tiny hide in the corner, no water dish. They post it on the group and they say, oh, look at my spider, do you have any advice? And then you give it to them. And then they say, well, it's been living like this for 5 years, I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
It's that lack of wanting to accept information.
Yeah.
And egos.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Yeah,
for sure. I agree, especially with the whole ego thing. People who they're like, well, what do I do, or what should I do for my first tarantula? And then you give them like a nice advice and then they're like, no, I think I'm gonna get an OBT.
Yeah.
And they just, like they just completely ignore it. They just don't care.
Yep.
So, or people who just don't give adequate care for the spider.
Yeah.
So that's for sure my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
What's your biggest goal with your channel?
I think it's just to keep doing what I'm doing, really. I mean, of course I want to get a little bit more cinematic, but me being my age, I don't know all that stuff, so learning that stuff is really difficult for me. But just to continue to help people, really, that's really all I really wanted to do it for, was to show off my stuff. It was an avenue to be a little bit more or less introverted, because I'm not a very social person.
Yeah.
And even this is a tad uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Even though we've met before.
Yeah.
Just kind of, like I said, basically just giving information out there for people that want it. And I'm getting a lot more responses back now from people who are just starting, which is really good.
Yeah, I agree. Animal education, that was my biggest thing, was I wanted to educate people, because that's how I got into it, was I was afraid of them, and learning about them, fear is not knowing.
Right.
So if you know more about it, you're less likely to be afraid of it.
Absolutely.
And describe the hobby in one word.
Relaxing.
Addictive.
That too. Yeah. Addictive, relaxing, therapeutic.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. What is the most expensive tarantula in your collection?
That's a tough one. I mean, I looked at this question earlier before I came, and I never really answered it because a couple of the ones that I had that were a little bit more expensive have passed away. I think the Theraphosenae species Panama that I did have was the most I spent on a spider.
Yeah.
But right now, probably my Pamphobedius CF Pederside pair is probably my two most expensive spiders.
To be honest, mine is my Brachypelma homori.
Yeah.
Yeah, my adult female, because when I got her, they were impossible to find. I think I spent like $250 on her. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Besides tarantulas, what's your favorite invert?
Praying mantises.
Praying mantis?
Yeah, I like mantises. I was always fascinated with them as a kid. Walking sticks. Where I grew up was over by Grandview Kmart.
Yeah.
So we were by woods all the time. So we had insects all over the house all the time, and we would get up in the morning before school. The first thing I would do is go to the basement windows because we had screens on them and see what bug was there.
Yeah.
You know? We had a couple walking leaves, but praying mantises I always enjoyed because they're just the feeding response of those things is just insane.
Yeah, for sure. I think millipedes have got to be my favorite.
Yeah.
Millipedes are definitely, I don't know, I think they're funny. They look like little worms with legs. They're just funny. And do you name all your tarantulas, and why?
Most of them I have, but I've been slacking lately. And it's what I found is if a name matches with the spider I'm dealing with, it pops in my head, then I give it to them. If I have to think about it, then I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really got to come natural. And I've had people name some for me. Kat named my Grammostola grossa that I got because she was jealous that I got it, so we named it Envy. But most of my stuff is, I would say probably about 75% of them are named.
I agree. Most of my adults are named. My slings aren't named because I like to name them based off of personality. I was naming off of color when I first got them, what color they were with, but then I just figured, it just wouldn't stick. I wouldn't remember it, and I would just rename them a million times anyway.
Right, I've done that. I've renamed a bunch of spiders. Yeah. I used to use like city names from, where they're from. So if you had, a spider from Mexico, kind of close to where they were from, I would find the name of a city that was really cool. Yeah. And I would use that. There's a few of them that are like that, but there's names that I have recycled many times. Shadow is a name that gets recycled a lot. Yeah. And in fact, the spider that was named Shadow, I traded off, so I can recycle that name again. Yeah. I'll probably name the Brachypelma schroderi Shadow is probably what I'll do. Yeah.
I tried to do the Greek mythology thing, stick with the Greek mythology, but there's only so many names that are cool in the Greek mythology.
It's tough when you're dealing with an unsexed spider too. Yeah. Yeah. I try to stay away from naming them something right off the bat. I mean, I have a couple, like my little tiny Grammostola rosea I named Lana. Yeah. And I figured that if it turns out male, I'll just change it to Alan. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. How many years have you been into the hobby?
14.
14?
Yeah.
I've been 5 years now, I think. 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, you grow, I mean, every year you learn new things, and I think Facebook and arachniboards, I mean, as much as I don't post on arachniboards very often, but that is a wealth of information. I go there to read all the time. Yeah. Yeah. And there's certain people that I go straight to. If I have something that I'm not sure of, I know a handful of people that deal with certain spiders that have dealt with them a lot. I just go right to them. Yeah. And I think that using the Facebook groups the right way too. Yeah. Really, really helps people. So. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a great I mean, really the last 3.5 years is really when I really got into it. You know? So it's been fun. My wife hates it. But, she's deathly afraid of spiders. So really? She doesn't like them at all. But we got the kid spiders. We got Eric scorpions. They don't deal with them so much anymore. They're all in my room now. They kind of grew out of them. But yeah. That's cool. I had a question for you now. I can't remember what it was because of my memory. But how long have you lived here in Erie?
2 years.
2 years. Where are you from?
I am from a small place called Venus, Pennsylvania, in the middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's by Clarion.
I know where Clarion. I've been by Clarion a lot. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yep. That's where I grew up.
I was just wondering because of your last name. I know a lot of Kings from the area.
Oh no, I'm a Alleman born and bred. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
There was one more. Now, doing the YouTube channel that you've gone, the growth that you've had, I mean, you can see that we all do it. It's the difference between where you were in the beginning and where you're at now because you're very good in front of the camera.
Thanks.
You know, you're very, I mean, you are. You're so relaxed and that. Do you enjoy being in front of the camera? Is it something that you feel you need to do, or is it something that's just natural? Because you were a model, I'm sure it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think that really had to do with it, because when I first started modeling and stuff, it was really awkward for me. But I think that, you know, after so much training and coaching and that, it really just helped me become more comfortable with that. Plus, I don't know, I feel like I'm talking to just like a group of friends, because everybody's so supportive.
Right.
And
yeah, the first time I did it, it felt more personal to me.
Yeah.
You know, because people aren't just listening to my voice, they can attach that face to the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotten more comfortable.
Yeah.
I won't do it all the time, but it is a little bit easier.
Every once in a while.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Super.
Well, that was the question and answer with David from Eeriearachnids. So we will hopefully do something like this again.
In Buffalo. I'm sure you're going to go to Buffalo.
I would like to, yes. I really want to go to Hamburg.
That's so far away.
I know, so far, but so good.
Definitely going to Buffalo with my daughter's going to go. We're going to go see Ruth up there.
When is the next one?
May 24th, I think it was.
Oh, that's right before my birthday. I'll be going.
Yeah.
I'll be going.
Yeah, so you'll have to let me know what time about you're going, and then we'll meet up there.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good. See you guys later.
Bye, guys.